Hello and welcome back to Whiskey Wars. My name is Sean and tonight is the 6th round of March Madness. Tonight we're going to find out what is the best higher proof bourbon under $40. Let's get into it. All right, here is our lineup for this evening, and what a lineup it is. I gotta say, this is probably the round I've been looking forward to the most. These are some of my favorite bourbons under $40. So let's get these things poured and see which one of these is the best. That said, all of these are great in my opinion, so it's going to be a really tough battle tonight. Going into Glass A, and that was way more of a pour than I needed to put in there, especially since this is cask strength. And speaking of, I think the highest proof on the table is the benchmark at 125 proof, and the lowest is the Ezra Brooks Distillers Collection at 107. So none of these are lightweights by any means. So again, Glass A, Maker's Mark, cask strength. Glass B will be benchmark, full proof. I'm gonna go a little lighter on that one. Don't need a ton of this to get the flavors I need. Glass C will be Chattanooga. Glass D will be Old Grandad. Always love the cork pop on Old Grandad. And finally, Glass E will be Ezra Brooks Distillers Collection. And this is a store pick, but you know, that doesn't make a huge difference. I've had ones that are not store picks and they're still great. So, gonna get the table cleared off, get these on the Drunken Susan, and let's get them mixed up. All right, here we go. Let's get to spinning, get these glasses mixed up. Hopefully they behave. Got to keep bouncing them back onto the spinner mixer upper here. Our Drunken Susan's doing a great job. If they would just cooperate. All right, there we go. Take these off in a random order. Okay, let's go ahead and start with what we'll call Glass 1 and work our way to Glass 5. Here we go, first sip down. Okay, here is what Glass 1 was. And excellent first sip, very hot, no surprise. But nonetheless, lots and lots of flavor on that first sip. Lots of dark fruit notes. So got like a roasted date up front, a nice plum note, maybe even like some raisin in there. And then as it kind of goes into mid palate, then it kind of becomes like a dark cherry. There's also a really nice brown sugar note in there, hints of caramel, but not real strong, and nice kind of cinnamon spice, various baking spices in there, maybe a little pepper. And then the finish is a really nice like black cherry, brown sugar, cinnamon. Really, really nice first sip. Enjoyed that. Let's move on to glass number 2. Okay, here is what glass 2 is, and that's a very familiar profile. Have to say, I think we may have spotted the Maker's Mark. Not certain yet, but got very typical Maker's Mark profile. So nice, like bright red cherry, not the kind of the dark note that we got in the first glass. Much brighter cherry note. Lots of cinnamon, a nice caramel note in there, hints of brown sugar, but not the dark kind of brown sugar that we got on 1, more of a lighter brown sugar. Much less pepper notes in glass 2, but all in all, a very nice sip. I will say though, that out of the 2 of these, I think the finish is longer on glass 1 and possibly better. Oh, all in all though, I would say these are very close, both excellent sips. Let's go ahead and move on to glass number 3. All right, so here's what glass number 3 is. Hope you saw that at home. Glass number 3, totally different than the first 2. Just like rich caramel apple candy with a ton of alcohol. There is a ton of alcohol in whatever that is. The apple note, and it's kind of like a sour apple note, kind of makes me think that's our Buffalo Trace product. So maybe benchmark. Glass 3 probably did not drink as hot as glass 1, but definitely hotter than glass 2. That said, very nice palate, but it is kind of simple. There's really just that kind of caramel note, and then there's that kind of sour apple, and then maybe a little brown sugar, very, very light cinnamon, if at all, very little spice going on. and then just kind of the ethanol note that's there, which is not bad or off-putting, but it is there. Simple, but nice. Let's go ahead and move on to glass number 4. Okay, so here's what glass 4 is. And again, totally different than everything we've had so far. This one is much more oak forward. So nice toasted oak notes, just rich, dark oak notes coming through, lots of barrel spice. There is just kind of a straight wood note in there, kind of sawdusty. Not necessarily off-putting, but it's certainly there, kind of noticeable. There's also a really nice dark chocolate note though. There's a nice coffee note. There's kind of a toffee note in there as well. Maybe a sweet tobacco. Really enjoyed that. The only thing that I would say that kind of dings this is the finish is it just kind of disappears. There's not a long finish by any means. I don't know if it's the shortest finish on the table, but it's close to that. So I have a feeling that might be one of our lower proof options. Anyway, let's get into glass number 5. Okay, so there is what glass number 5 is. Hope you saw that at home. Glass number 5, very different again from everything else we've had. This one immediately reminded me of like Raisinets if they were covered in cinnamon. So a very cinnamon forward Raisinette. So you get those kind of darker fruit notes. There's maybe also like a roasted date in there. Not quite a plum note, but very raisiny, and lots of brown sugar, just a ton of brown sugar there. Lots of cinnamon spice. Also, maybe a chocolate coming through. I would say a sweet tobacco is probably present as well. The finish is, I would say, longer and nicer than glass 4. You know, we'll have to kind of go through these again blind off camera and see which has the better finish and all in all better mouthfeel and all that kind of stuff. But it seems like from memory of going through these, this might be on the shorter side finish wise. So we will blind these again off camera and then come back with our winner. So we'll be right back. Well, we're back, and I gotta say, of all the rounds we've done so far, round 6 was the hardest to figure out. There was a lot of close rounds in this March Madness thing so far, but round 6 was very tough because there's not a bad bourbon on this table. That's the whole thing. And also, when you're drinking basically cask strength, I know that 2 of these do not claim to be cask strength, but what's funny is that the 2 that don't claim to be cask strength are actually the 2 highest proof bourbons. So yeah, there's no break there just because they don't claim to be cask strength. Anyway, it was difficult to get through all these and still be able to talk and, you know, make coherent sentences so that I can still communicate to you guys what the heck happened while I was doing these blinds. So as you can see, these 2 were very close. That's why there's nothing left, because it took me a while to figure out which I preferred. This was, I wouldn't say it was the clear loser, but the problem with glass 5, and we'll reveal that in just a second here, is it was just really woody. But before we reveal what glass 5 is, if you're enjoying it so far, please hit that like button. And if you're really enjoying them, please subscribe. We got much more of this March Madness thing coming. So here we go. Let's get into glass 5, the one that was a little bit tannic and woody. It was a little off-putting, honestly. So let's see what glass 5 is. Wait, clearly I've had too much whiskey. Okay, I'm looking for a letter that I haven't even revealed yet, which makes it hard to figure out. Yeah, so I show, you know what? I'm gonna leave it in. Because I don't care. So E is what we're looking for. You saw it, I didn't. E, okay. E is Ezra Brooks. You guys go back and check the tape. I could be totally wrong. I feel like I got that right though. I have them in order from A to B, so it's hard for me to screw it up. But yeah, Ezra Brooks is E. Now this was a store pick, so maybe I got a bad store pick. I don't know. I thought it was really good at first. Actually, I really enjoyed it down to like right below the shoulder. And then it started to open up, and then it started to get more woody, I started noticing. I started noticing more kind of tannic oak notes coming through. So I can't imagine this is super old, because it's around $30 to $35. So I can't imagine that Ezra Brooks, which is Lux Row, which is a source company, which means they're probably getting it from Heaven Hill. So this is actually a Heaven Hill product, most likely. Nonetheless, there's no way they're getting super old Heaven Hill for $30. So I don't know where the tannic oak's coming from, but it's certainly there. Anyway, that's glass 5. Let's move on to glass number 4. This one, I have a feeling, is the Buffalo Trace product, which means it's benchmark, I'm guessing. B is, in fact, benchmark. You know, what gave it away is the sour apple note. And so here's the thing. On its own, I really enjoyed this bottle. But when you have it against other bourbons that are just better put together, I mean, just more complex, more balanced, just better mouthfeel, everything about these three is better than this bottle. And what hurts this bottle the most is that up front, it's kind of nice. It's very hot, but it's nice, but it's simple. It's just caramel and apple. And then the back is pretty strong ethanol. It's not terrible, but it's certainly there. It's very noticeable, especially up against these three. It was very noticeable. I mean, these had nice finishes. The finish on this is very ethanol forward, and so I just couldn't let it be higher than 4th. So that's what it is. Let's move on to, I keep doing that. I'm looking down at bottles and I don't know what the hell the answer is. All right, anyway, glass number 3. Sorry, folks. Cast strength bourbon, yeah, a lot of it, there we go, is C. So C is 3rd place and C is, oh no, Chattanooga. You're not moving on. Sorry, buddy. And to be fair, it was really close. Like, I can't believe how close glasses 3 and 2 were. They were really, really close. I'm not going to say what 2 is yet, because we're going to clear the table here in a second. But these flavor profiles between 3 and 2 were so similar that I was actually blown away. Especially, this is a 2-year product. It only claims to be 2 years old. Well, what's the official wording on here? Where is it? Somewhere here it says something like at least 2 years old. Well, I'm not going to find it right now in my inebriated state, so I can't even. I said straight instead of state, so that tells you how things are going. Anyway, yeah, there's that. So let's clear the table. Those are our losers. They're not moving on. Sorry, folks. If you had your bets on these, not happening. Move them off to the side. What are our winners? You see this glass is empty. It took me a long time to decide. I'm pretty sure I said tine instead of time. I apologize. This was a tough category to get through. Yeah, so just excuse my slurring. Anyway, glass. No, we're not doing glass. 2nd place. This is a train wreck. I apologize. I'm sorry it's not better. Let's see. Okay, the least I can do is get the letter correctly. There we go. So you can see it. D. D is Old Granddad. D for Dad. Which means our 1st place is Maker's Cast Strength. So, you know, when I was going through these, what separated these two, although I do enjoy Old Granddad very much, this was just more balanced. Everything about the experience was better. From the finish to the palate, just as soon as it hit your tongue, everything about it was better. My phone's going off. Perfect. Now, that said, this was a very close second. Like, I had to go back and forth between these quite a bit as well. These are our 1st and 2nd. Folks, if you've enjoyed the video, please hit that like button again and, subscribe. And by the way, here's the subscribe button. And here is the playlist for this March Madness thing that we are doing. So check both of those out. And until next time, folks, just remember, you can never have too much good whiskey.